Spark innovation across your federal agency with IT hardware, software, and services from Connection Public Sector Solutions. Your technology procurement challenges will meet their match as Connection's dedicated account managers offer exceptional customer service, and our extensive list of supported federal contracts means you'll always get a price that works for your budget. Learn more about innovation for your agency with Connection Public Sector Solutions at connection.com/fedcontracts.
The sweet aromas of the apple fritter, cinnamon roll, and blueberry muffin are hard to resist. So making it the rest of the way home without reaching in your McDonald's bag is no easy task. But nothing worth doing is easy.
Wake up and pair any one of these sweet, fluffy, frittery bakery treats with a McCafe iced coffee. Get any size and any flavor for just 99 cents until 11 a.m. Price and participation may vary.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Welcome to the Stephen Shiels radio show. Today I'm here with a guest named Jack Barratt, who I studied with. He is a contemporary musician who plays the bass guitar. He has perfect pitch. How are you, Jack?
I'm very good. How about yourself, man?
Good, man. We studied together, and I remember being in oral class with you. You had perfect pitch, and you were very good at rhythmic dictation. Tell me your journey of having perfect pitch.
Well, I'm not gonna lie. I didn't realize I had perfect pitch until I think it was in year 7. I was asked to do a test by my music teacher, Mrs. Hart, and she just I think gave me a bunch of notes, and I said what they were, and then she told me, "Yep, you've got perfect pitch." I'm like, "Well, okay, that's news to me." And didn't realize how much that had helped me until the times that we studied together, you know.
Yeah, because I remember I was sitting next to you in class, and especially with melodic dictation, you were able to get the rhythm and the pitch right as well. And that's pretty good. That has an advantage, although having perfect pitch has a disadvantage as well. But you've done quite a fair bit of transcribing music as well. What's been your process in transcribing other people's work?
Well, my transcription process is really as follows, I guess. I think there isn't really one set, I guess, sort of procedure to it, but generally the way I like to think of it is I start off by sort of making a very, very sort of rounding up to the nearest 10. Like I listen to the composition, and I to roughly to the nearest 10, get the amount of bars there are, and I can always add and delete bars later. That's what I start with. And then if there's time signature changes involved in the piece, I map out where those changes are. You know, I mean, what bar do those time signature changes happen? And then I put them in, and then generally after that, you know, and that whole time signature process actually makes it easier to delete bars, you know, and get to the more sort of nuanced number of bars there are in the entire piece. And then I start off with the rhythm section, because generally speaking, every time I've transcribed, the rhythm section is generally the easiest. You know, I start off with the rhythm section, you know, and then once I've done the rhythm section, which is the drums and the bass, I like to get started on whatever the melody, whatever melodic instrument is playing. You know, and then I sort of fill in the middle bits later on. The hardest instruments to do are generally the ones that are more buried in the mix, you know.
Yeah.
What else is there? Well, I mean, there have been times where the rhythm section has been really hard to hear in a recording. So when I do that, I like really the main rule, and the main rule for me is to do the easiest instrument, is to transcribe the easiest instrument first, and then really sort of really sort of hash out the harder instruments, the ones that are harder to hear or harder to transcribe, either because they've got lots of notes or they've got notes you can't immediately hear because they're too speedy, I guess. I mean, that's certainly been the case for me whenever I've transcribed Jaco Pastorius solos, because he's just a freak. What else can I tell you? Yeah, that's pretty much my process simplified, really.
Yeah, I guess when you do start off with like one instrument at a time as well, I suppose that breaks it down much more easier. I found when I was learning to transcribe music, I found headphones would help rather than using my MacBook speaker. No wonder why it was out of tune.
Yeah, you're absolutely right about that. I mean, the headphones, especially, like, don't listen. In my opinion, don't listen to your music through earpods. If you're transcribing, that's a really, really bad idea, because earpods tend to kill off the higher frequencies, which may mean stuff you can't hear. So whenever you transcribe, I would sort of recommend that you get a big set of cans, like my Audio Technicas or whatever.
Yeah.
And also, if you've got it, get transcribe. I mean, I started off having this huge ego complex, thinking that I could transcribe, anything. Yeah, I don't have to slow down. I could just transcribe. But eventually, there are some things you just need to you need to slow it down any way possible to get all those notes.
Yeah, I suppose getting the notes is the most hardest when you're transcribing. I mean, I found if I looped the recording, it would just drive me insane, Jack. I was taught to do it sort of phrase by phrase, like the stop-start method.
Yeah, that's kind of how I've been doing it lately. Whenever I've transcribed really weird solos, I do it phrase by phrase.
Now, I would find I would transcribe in the morning because I found it was more fresh. I'd probably do it about 2 hours a day max, and that's it. Just had to put it down for the rest of the day. How quick are you with your working process?
How quick am I?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I like to, sort of, I guess I'm quicker with it. It really depends on how easy the instruments are to transcribe and how they've been sort of mixed in the recording I've decided to transcribe. That can make a really big difference as to how fast or how slow your recording goes, your transcription goes. Sometimes I'm able to do bass solos. I can do them in roughly any time between 30 minutes to maybe 2 hours. If it's just one instrument like that, if it's just a really interesting bass solo, it's anywhere between 30 minutes and maybe 2 hours. Actually, 30 minutes and 1 hour for fretted solos, but if it's a Jaco Pastorius solo where it plays fretless, maybe add another hour, because nobody's perfect when they're playing. Nobody's perfect when they're playing a fretless instrument. Not all of the notes are going to be right on pitch,
Yeah, speaking about that, there are so many transcriptions out there of, say, one solo, but there are dodgy works as well.
Oh, yeah.
Especially if you looked it up on Google.
Oh, yeah, Google. Not a good place to look for transcriptions, if you ask me.
No. Or if you brought some tablature books, there are dodgy transcriptions that just, yuck.
Yeah, absolutely yuck. There's an experience I had was, my brother was learning a solo, and he decided, before transcribing it himself, it was of a prog metal song of sorts. I think it was Animals as Leaders, but he opened up the transcription he found in guitar Ultimate Guitar or Guitar World. No, not Guitar.
Oh, yeah.
Just one of those really stupid things, and there was actually legitimately a section missing that said "Don't know." You know.
Oh God.
You have to be. I mean, if you're, it's a place where people go to look for it's a place where people go to look for tablatures, not for people to say, "Oh, I don't know how to transcribe this." You know.
Are you serious? This was published in a guitar magazine.
Oh no! Sorry, no. Not in a guitar magazine. It was published on a guitar website, which is a sort of open source for anybody who wants to transcribe things on tablatures, specifically on tablatures. I don't think I've ever gone on that website and seen anything on actual notes rather than on tablatures, because most guitarists on that website learn from tablatures. I would think, at least.
Yeah, I mean that's the frustrating thing as well, because there's so many different tablatures out there that are written different. Some of it's confusing, some of it's good. I've noticed now modern tablature they put the rhythm stems, which is good.
Yeah, it's very good.
You know, versus someone just saying, "Oh, play this on the 5th fret." Well, I don't know if it's a triplet or a quarter note, or a half note. So how can I tell if? That's why it's good to read music at the same time.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
You know, but since your musical journey, and we're living in 2020 with the COVID-19, you were working at the airport. Share your experience about what happened with you.
Oh, well, I mean, I was just pushing trolleys at the airport, and yeah, I mean that is legitimately what I was doing, and I've been doing that since high school. I'm not since just the end of it, and I'm not gonna lie, I was working there already for 4.5 years, so I thought it was time for a change anyway. I was getting really sick of the place anyway, and I think they called us to a meeting and essentially told us that several of us would be stood down, but we'd still be technically employed, but we would not have any shifts, and that's that was essentially what I was dealt. I'd say 90% of EasyCart staff don't have shifts anymore.
Yeah, stood down without pay.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, and I was able to apply for JobKeeper, so I mean.
And how was your process getting JobKeeper this year?
I can't even remember, to be honest. I wish I could talk to you about that, but I do not remember.
It was just a weird time, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, we're just coming out of a very strange, weird, messed up time.
But sounded like music's your passion.
Oh yeah, it always has been. I think. I mean, listening to it, playing it. It's always been a passion for me. And as time goes on, I think I'd expose myself to more music. That passion grows, and your passion for creativity, grows. Your passion for experimentation, especially. That's what I've noticed about my, so to speak, musical journey, is that I become a lot more. I sort of try to experiment a little bit more with different instruments rather than just the guitar and the bass and the drums.
Do you compose any original work?
I do. I compose original work all the time, which I mostly keep to myself until I think it's worth releasing. You know what I mean? That's pretty much, yeah. I mean, I do compose all the time. Sometimes it's rock, sometimes... Actually, no, that's an understatement. Most of the time it is rock. Sometimes it's experimental electronic music. Sometimes it's just nice, subtle, soft stuff or whatever. But I do compose my own stuff. That's the bottom line.
It's always good to compose your own work.
Oh, no doubt.
I've enjoyed the process of composing and publishing on, Spotify and all that.
Mm-hmm. I've heard some of your work. It sounds amazing, especially like Judas. That's my favorite.
Yeah, you got to check out the music video on YouTube.
I have. It's a good music video. It's a very good music video.
Thanks, man. It was a good video to do, and I did one for Death and Life.
Oh, I still need to look that one up, but I'll definitely get around to it sometime.
Yeah, that's on my YouTube as well. But with your musical journey, you're playing in some bands. Tell everyone about what style you play and what your band's about.
Oh well, I'm in two bands that are both within the rock sort of category, but there's just in two different subcategories. One of my bands is very much more, I guess, 90s inspired, hard rock music inspired by things like grunge and somewhat punk and stuff like that. Bands like Hole and The Preachers and what else? I had a whole list. And sort of bands like that. I mean, Nirvana plays a huge influence, and so does. But as well as that sort of, I guess, basic kind of grunge mold, we also kind of put our own separate tastes into it. Like Ash is very much into Paramore, for example. Luke's very much into Luke is very much into My Chemical Romance and The Used. Connor is very much into sludge metal like the Melvins, and I'm into sort of dream pop like Slowdive. So we kind of bring those tastes together. But the other band I'm in is sort of, I just mainly let the guitarist and the singer take charge. They're excellent songwriters, and they write very well in the mold of the mold of sort of 70s, 80s, 90s glam. So, those are the two different bands I'm in, really. And they've kept me busy, they've kept me happy, and I'm very happy to be part of those bands.
Yeah, it's always good to feel happy with what you're doing as well, and that's the main thing.
Sorry, what was that?
That's the main thing, you got to feel happy.
No doubt. I'm very happy where I am. I love the people I work with, and especially playing live, that's the best part, which I didn't get much of for 6 months, but now it's starting to perk back up, so I'm getting very happy.
Yeah, live music's always the best.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
Best to listen to.
Especially when there are people watching. I mean, isn't that the case with anybody?
Yeah, well, that's it, I went to a live concert at the Kudos Bank Arena 2 weeks ago.
Oh, who'd you see?
It was just some contemporary musicians. I saw Kevin Bacon.
Oh, Kevin Bacon is in the actor, Kevin Bacon?
Yeah, playing guitar.
Oh, cool. He plays guitar. Oh, no.
And the I think it was the old lead singer from Powderfinger.
Oh, Bernard Fanning.
Yeah.
Love Powderfinger. I love Bernard Fanning.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. And I went for free because it was a free concert from the support act. They're like grants, sort of, I think, grants thing for musicians, which was good. I was very thankful for that.
Oh, I'm glad, man. I'm sorry. It was certainly, it certainly sounds like it would have been a good thing. Were there lots of people there?
Not a lot. It was very limited capacity.
Oh, Oh yeah, I mean, to keep things safe, it's got to be limited capacity.
But you know what was weird?
Yeah.
The venue charged everyone $10 to cloak their bag.
To cloak their bag.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what the
Well,
cloak
I'm
room
not
is?
aware of that.
You know.
What exactly do they mean by cloaking your bag?
Oh, because you can't bring your bag into the concert. You have to put them in a storage room.
Ah, yes.
And they charging $10.
Oh well. Certainly sounds. No, I'm not exactly sure what to think of that. I mean, for starters. I mean.
Whereas you can bring your bag into the Sydney Opera House and the ICC Centre, but I don't know, the Kudos Bank Arena, they're just fussy for some reason. They won't even let you, I don't know, bring a bottle of water in.
Oh, they really should. I'm actually not quite sure about that. I mean, when I went to see, I've gone to Kudos Bank Arena a couple of times. One was to see Slipknot, who were absolutely amazing.
Did you get in the mosh pit?
Oh, well, yeah, I was a bit scared. So.
Did they allow moshing back then?
Oh yeah, well, I mean, as long as people could control themselves, they allowed moshing. I mean, every concert I've been to, a lot of heavy metal concerts I've been to, I've seen people do the whole circle pit and the walls of death and all that stuff. But there are a couple of things that they absolutely won't allow you to do.
What's that?
They won't allow you to stage dive. They used to, probably, but they don't do that anymore. I've seen old videos back in the 90s of bands performing, and there are people who stage dive. You can't really do that anymore. Otherwise, I don't know, you'd probably be escorted out of the concert. Who knows?
Well, when I went to the concert, they wouldn't even let us stand up and dance in our seat.
Well, I mean, that's pretty much been the climate of every venue, not just big venues, but of small venues too.
They wouldn't even let us stand up.
Sit, yeah.
Just stand up and go, yay! We had to sit down and go.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of... The crowd may have a lot of enthusiasm for the performer, but it's really hard to show it when you're sitting down.
Well, that's exactly right. Look, I went to see Hans Zimmer play at the Kudos. This was about 4 years ago. But I was sitting right up the back, and fuck me, the atmosphere was so amazing.
Oh man, I bet it was. I mean, it's Hans Zimmer we're talking about.
Yeah. But everyone was seated. We all remained seated. I think it was when he played Time at the end, we all stood up and clapped. But when he played the Wonder Woman and the Batman, it was like you were just like, whoa. You're like, dude.
I think that is the kind of music that you definitely do sit down for until the end. You can you sort of contain your enthusiasm right until the end. It's like there are certain forms of not just film music, which is what Hans Zimmer is obviously specializes in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go.
But there's also bits of experimental rock music. That really. I went to see a band called Godspeed You Black Emperor, and they're very much an experimental kind of band. That have made music for I think the movie 28 Days Later. And they performed a whole concert, and we were all standing up. The problem is with that band is that music is definitely not standing up. It's not music you stand up and dance to. So probably would have been a better as a seated gig. Me and my friends me and my brothers kind of agree on that.
Well, yeah. I saw Dream Theater at the Hordern Pavilion.
Oh yeah, they're great. I mean, especially John Lang, he's great.
I think for the start of the gig we were sitting down, but toward the end, the security just thought, fuck it, you guys can go stand up and stand in the center because it's a smaller venue. And the smaller venues are better, I think. So I think it was, when they played Pull Me Under, we just stood up and they let us move. It wasn't like Kudos where, you've got to stay in your seat and that's your section. Like the Horden Pavilion, I think is quite good. They're more
Lenient.
Yeah, lenient, relaxing there. Only cost me $3 to cloak my bag that night, which was good.
Yeah, right. I think generally, even without, social distancing, I think smaller venues are a lot more intimate, and that's what I like about it. I mean, granted, I would think that a band like Dream Theater, a band of their stature, would probably be playing, in sort of bigger, like really, really huge venues like stadiums, because they seem like that band. I mean, their music, sonically, it has that kind of. It sounds like the kind of music you would hear in a massive theater, as per the name of that band, Dream Theater. You know.
Well, I think too they sound better in smaller venues versus large outdoor, festivals as well. I mean, Megadeth, they've played mostly in smaller venues as well.
I saw them at the Horden Pavilion, and they were really good.
You saw them at the Horden? Where did you go?
This was all the way back in 2015. It was I saw them because a friend of mine gave me tickets, and I was like, okay, cool. And I saw them, and it was just a great concert, You've got some really great musicians. Dave Mustaine, Dave Ellefson in particular, the bassist, he's absolutely amazing. And, the sound, I hadn't been in a big venue before, and it was probably the first time I heard properly good sound.
Where were you sitting?
I was standing.
Nice. Were you in the front row?
Well, not the front row. No, I've only been not in the front row. I've only been man enough to stand at the front row once, and that was when I saw Machine Head at the Enmore Theatre. I was sort of, for the 20 minutes I waited before the concert started. When I was at the front, I was like, oh boy, this is going to be a bit wild. And then the concert started and my worries stopped, and I just went ham, Didn't worry about the people around me. I was just like, I'm just going to have a good time, And so I just banged my head up and down and went all loopy. Didn't really care about the people around me, unless they were hurt. Of course, I would have brought them up. But no, I wasn't really worried about getting hurt myself. So
Yeah, well, that's exactly right. As long as you enjoyed the night out of the gig.
Yeah. Yeah. I really enjoyed it, and as long as everybody looks out for each other, then you're bound to have a good gig.
But see, with mosh pits, people have been hurt.
Oh, well, yeah. Especially, I mean, I'm not saying this is a fact, but I would think that maybe back pre-mobile phones and all that at heavy metal concerts, that there's more of an instance where there's more of an opportunity for people to get hurt. But nowadays, bands, even heavy bands, will encourage people to look out for each other because serious stuff has gone down, If there is a person in front of you that's noticeably, that's gotten tripped over, then you absolutely must pick them up. It doesn't matter if you don't know them. You should pick them up, I mean, it's not that you should, it's that you must, because death has resulted in that. That has resulted in death before.
Or remember the old Woodstock festivals where people just light bonfires and go crazy.
Well, I mean, that was Woodstock 1999, where everybody sort of, I mean, the whole purpose, I think, of Woodstock was kind of defeated with that concert, and people got injured, and in Metallica, a dude collapsed in a mosh pit and fortunately died.
Yeah.
And
Metallica.
bonfires were lit while Red Hot Chili Peppers, I think, were performing "Fire," which is a Jimi Hendrix song.
Yeah. Well, Megadeth played at that concert as well.
Did they?
Yeah, they did. They were on a different stage. I know Metallica did. They sounded pretty good that night too, especially Megadeth.
Oh yeah, I mean Woodstock 1999. I mean it always sounded good. I think there were a good few great bands out there. Metallica, Limp Bizkit, and it was just a good night that just derailed because of all this weird stuff that was going on. It was like I said, it was completely different from the sort of, I guess, peaceful Woodstock 1969. You know.
Mm. Yeah, well, Limp Bizkit, haven't heard much of them, but they managed to play at Woodstock in 1999.
Oh yeah, they did, and they went crazy. And I think the lead singer's I don't know, but I think either his mic or his speaker went out. Nobody heard him when he was sort of chanting F Limp Bizkit or whatever, you know, and trying to get the crowd to chant back. The clip's on YouTube. It's and I look at that, it's like, well, that's one of the things that went wrong. And also, a bunch of people started, as Limp Bizkit want them to do, breaking stuff, and you know, and he didn't really tell anybody to mellow out as things were getting quite crazy. You know, it led to a lot of injuries, but it was just an absolutely wild gig. But I still think Limp Bizkit are a creditable band. I mean, even though the decision to tell them telling the crowd not to mellow out or whatever, I guess that was kind of a bit bad considering what was going on. But this is just a very, very superficial look at it, you know.
Jack, it was a very fantastic interview with you today.
Oh, thank you very much for having me, Steve.
Where can people find you on social media?
Well, I mean, I have a couple of things on. I just have a sort of little account on Instagram where I post things, you know, about my bands and about me. And I also have a sort of stuff that I have done in the past. You know, I have little bits and pieces of music on, of course, a page with my name on it, Jack Barratt, Barratt. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right. And guys, you can listen to my newest single on Spotify called Apocalypse as well. You can check out my video of Judas on YouTube. Jack, thanks for coming on the podcast.
Absolutely, mate.
It was a
you have
pleasure.
an absolutely amazing day.
Whether you're having a not moving off the couch while you watch the game kind of day, or a no time between conference calls kind of day, it can still be a delicious Dunkin' kind of day. And with Dunkin' now available on DoorDash, it's easier than ever to get your faves brought right to your door. So if you're looking for coffees, donuts, and breakfast sandwiches in the morning, craving some afternoon snack and bacon, or in need of Dunkin' refreshers for a PM pick-me-up, we've got you covered. Order now and get your faves brought to your door through Grubhub, Uber Eats, and DoorDash. Price and participation may vary. Exclusions apply. America runs on Dunkin'.
Es mejor llegar tarde a casa que nunca volver a llegar. Es mejor llegar tarde al trabajo que nunca volver a trabajar. Y es mejor recoger tarde a tus hijos que nunca volver a recogerlos. Llegar tarde a donde vayas por esperar a que pase el tren es mucho mejor que arriesgar tu vida tratando de ganarle el paso. Por algo existe el dicho, más vale tarde que nunca. Alto, el tren no para.
Mensaje de Netza.